when I started social media, it wasn't about just making sales. I mean, obviously I have to do that, but you find once you start getting to a certain volume and capacity that there's a difference between making sales, Ben, and having quality transactions. And the type of lifestyle that I want to live is that I'm actually happy to be working with the people I work with.
Welcome to the From Within podcast with Ben Osterveld. Hey guys, Ben Osterveld here from the From Within podcast with Ben Loates. Second time on the show. First time was pretty good. This time is going to be great. For those who don't know, what are you doing? Okay.
Well, you said second.
I thought, I thought it was.
So then I went like this.
That is such a dad move. The two fingers together turned to it. That's awesome. Teach me about that later. I'm about to try to intro you here, man. So here's the thing. So this is my intro. I didn't get it approved by Ben. So most likely he'd be very humble. I'm going to try to make it a little bit bigger than that. My view of Ben is that when he started his real estate career, he's been a real estate agent in Edmonton for a while. He's dominated on social media. But before we got there, at the very beginning, Ben, I think, is more of a struggling real estate agent at the beginning. And what happened was I really believe that you discovered your social media tactics and ways, and it exploded you. But the thing is, we're going to hear a lot more about that. And that's why you're here today, is because of who you are. You are authentic. You are absolutely insane authentic, and everyone follows you on social. You understand that, but I actually don't think your success is fully from social media. I think it's who you are, and that's why you're on the show today. But it's awesome. We'll unpack this. You're making like this. I don't think you're gonna like this, but you're well over 300 grand a year right now, and that has not been that long. That it was not nowhere near that. And I think that we can talk about how you've got those numbers. I think it's really important. People need to hear that. But I think it's who you are. But you are a social media genius in some level. Many people try to do it. And I know you don't like that, eh? But in comparison to the average Joe, Ben, you are. You are.
Okay.
And you really hacked social media, but not like the typical hey, buy my $200 program. I'll show you hacked social media. Like, you really hacked social media. And it's not what everyone thinks. And we are going to unpack that today. I think that's really important.
Keep going, though. I'm sorry. I'm loving this. I'll be quiet.
Yeah. And he's got good hair. He's got good hair. Have you ever seen the commercial where there are guys on a date and the girl totally rejects him because his shirt is a little wrinkly? It's a t-shirt that's stretched down. He's wearing one of those right now. It's not a tie. He needs to wash his shirt.
That's because I'm home. It's nice and slow right now. We just put our wood burning fireplace up for the first time in 7 years. I literally woke up this morning and went and bought firewood. And so I locked the door on my office. I can hear kids yelling out there. Yeah. And so this is full on dad mode. Nice. wrinkly shirt, but honored to be on the podcast nonetheless.
Yeah, it's so good to have you, man. Me and Ben connected one day. I don't even know what happened, but it was almost like we were kindred spirits instantly. I don't know if it's because we're both a little bit nuts or if we both have the same name, but we definitely share a lot of the same values, and the way we see life is very similar. Even though we're very different, we have this common thread. So let's jump right into this, Ben. So Ben, social media, what I'm telling people around when I'm doing speaking engagements and coaching and things like that, when I'm working with real estate agents, I'm trying to actually steer them away a little bit from social media, because I really believe most agents are wasting a ton of time. What would you say to that, Ben?
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, obviously I love social media, and it's literally been the thing that's fed my family. However, when I did it, it was always it was very simple, the way that I worked it out in my brain. And so it was very executable for me. I think social media can be a huge waste of time, where you could, to me, a lot of people doing it because you see other people doing it, it's like you're buckshotting out into just a black screen, and you're hoping one of your 500 bullets makes a ding sound. And really, if that was me, I'd be depressed and I would hate it. And so there's no way when I started that I could do it that way. And here's another little known fact. I am in no way, and you talk about this all the time, but knowing your strengths and weaknesses, you know how people will sit down and schedule, I've got my social media post for the next
Yeah.
2 weeks. Like to sit down at a desk for even 3 individual posts in advance. One of the things about being authentic is sometimes you don't know where you're at until that day.
Yeah.
And whatever you release that day comes out of that authentic moment. How can I know 2 weeks from now that what I thought about today is still fresh 2 weeks later? And really, and this is what I find. Yeah.
So what do you say to me when I say, what about these guys that have like they do schedule like, and they are actually winning, and what are they winning? They're turning deals, they're getting leads, but they've created a machine that doesn't have authenticity, that doesn't have personality, and it kind of plays on the people's emotions, and they it's almost like clickbait, like that style of social media. That's the people that have 30-40 days worth of content created with a funnel. And like, what do you say about those guys? Because in one level, it could be argued that it's working as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't have a beef with anybody that's, if you've learned to track the system and you've got it scheduled for 40 days and you're grabbing those people that it attracts them. Listen, this is what I find. When I started social media, it wasn't about just making sales. I mean, obviously I have to do that, but you find once you start getting to a certain volume and capacity that there's a difference between making sales, Ben, and having quality transactions. And the type of lifestyle that I want to live is that I'm actually happy to be working with the people I work with. And so if I'm going to put out quality stuff that reflects me, I'm actually going to have, that's really unapologetically me, not belligerently me, but it's me. It's goofy. It's what, like, I've had people reach out and be like, literally on Facebook, you're an idiot. You, sir, are the worst. How can people take you seriously? Listen, if I just did a campaign to attract anybody, that person's going to be my client, and I'm going to have a horrific time with them because I caught them in my net. And I'm going to muscle through a garbage deal with someone who doesn't match my personality. And I know people are saying, yeah, but Ben, I'm only making 8 to 10 sales a year. I just need any sale. I get that. And you know what? In the beginning, you do. You gotta get your hands
take what you can. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's almost humbling for me to say I at this point, and listen, everything changes in a heartbeat, but at this point, when there's a certain volume that comes, for me, I want to attract people that are like-minded, that appreciate the type of person I am, because there's a whole bunch of hurdles you don't have to jump over any longer. It's a straight up connection from the beginning. So my answer to your question is, which again, I could never do this. 40 days, I've got this, man. I converted 20 people. Listen, you have to journey with every human that you encounter for 3 to 4 to 5 months. And
Exactly.
You want it to be good. You want it to be smooth. You want benefit of the doubt all over the place. I promise you, if I robotically did that, I could catch people in my net. But I've found, as the years have gone on, I don't want everyone. I want a quality life. I want a quality business. I want people that understand how I function the same way I understand how they do. And there's this meshing. And for me, and this is my own value system, but that gives me joy. So I'd rather take one person that goes, man, I saw that photo of you with your clients, and I just love that. It's like those people that met me at Costco. Man, we've been following you for a year, and can we work with you? And like Benny, it was such a wonderful start to finish. And we had the worst things come up in that, from start, like down to the 11th hour, I'm not joking. It was down to the last 9 minutes till we got a text that said everything went through on. However, it was still full of joy with those guys. They trusted me right to the end, right? You don't have those.
And that's when you love it. You love this business, and then you hate it because of the people. If you get 4 bad ones in a row, you just want to get the heck out of this business. It's so ugly. It's like, what's the point? What are you doing? What are you doing to sell my house? I'm like, well, I've pretty much sold my 3rd kid, done everything I possibly can, but you probably are still 20 grand over, but you need to do your work. What the hell is this world-class experience? You need to get, like, you just want to be like, have you ever been punched in the throat? I'm just curious if you've been punched in the throat. It does feel like that.
I've had clients where I've worked with them and it's really not gone well. Yeah. And later, because I reflect on everything, why was that so bad? Or why didn't that jive? Or even just something fell apart. Now they went with another agent. And I'll always go, what was the genesis of that relationship?
Totally.
Why? And for me, if I look back and I was toiling and striving to make that relationship work, and then I jumped into bed with them or got on a boat with them, that's on me for jumping at the bit when I shouldn't have. And so to tie that back into social media, item one, I can't schedule I would rather punch myself in the nards than schedule something for 4 hours for the next week and a half. Like, I actually just don't have that skill set. It's so boring, gross. However, but some people, they actually love that. Like, I don't want to slam anybody.
No, I like being contrasting though, like, because I think I do believe you've figured out social media. But here's the thing, we got to be really careful. And this is the thing, is that we look at a guy like you, okay, and someone goes, holy shit, you've really dominated in social media. You're getting all your business. Like, you could literally do a Ben Loates course on how to hack social media and you'd sell it all. And the problem is, people they miss something massive. They're not Ben Loates. They're not freaking Ben Loates. It's not the platform. It's not the post. It's nothing. It's that Ben Loates is Ben Loates. If you try to be Ben Loates and you have to compete against Ben Loates, you're going to lose with the exact same strategy. So I feel like social media amplified this is just my opinion because I get to know you a little bit. I think what happened really was you just absolutely bared your soul and going, this is who I am. I'm going to be this guy. I'm kind of crazy. I see things as cartoons sometimes, and I just want to be me. And I think what happened, and I know you have a faith and spirituality behind it as well, but I see that it just amplified who you were. And it was like you literally just stood out like a beacon. And I think that's what people are scared of. They want to be seen, okay? They're lonely. They want to have that connection, but they're too scared to put themselves out there because of the judgment or because of whatever happened. So they never go all in on themselves.
Well, this is what you and I are talking about here. So, because you have this thing then. So here's where everybody is. If you're going to do social media, if you're going to attract the people you want, okay, and this goes for you, that you tell people, know yourself first then. What is your deal? And then from there, if you want to separate yourself, there's no gray area. You have to actually go all in on what your deal is. And authentically, yes, I am goofy. But here's the good news for everybody, Ben. Every human being alive is incredible. Every 100%. Human being alive has something that I like. Yes, I'm those things and they're flashy, but you know what? So what? My wife is the exact opposite of me.
And she's good shit too.
She sure is good shit. Bless that girl. But seriously though, and being married to her for 13 years, you realize that her strengths aren't flamboyant, but dear Lord, are they strong? And so the good news for anyone is, thank God you don't have to be me. You actually are incredible yourself. So the question is, how do you, and this is what you do with people, how do you figure out who you are then and value that? And then how do you have the courage to place yourself, actually I'm going to place yourself in a sphere where you're now, where you're now on the chopping block. And here's the thing, when you are willing to be yourself in public, you immediately, and Jenna just said this to me today, you know, Ben, we found out some people we know, they still talk about you kind of behind your back. And I said to her, Jenna, I'm actually, this is the story of my life. I've always been just a little bit out there. And so it doesn't even hurt to hear it, because honestly, I know if I saw them in person and we chatted for 5 minutes, this is what happens when you put yourself out there that way.
Man.
And now here's the thing though, and to tie this back into what we see out there in social media right now is, if you're not going to be that, then you actually come back to here and you do what everyone else is doing because it's safe. But this is where I tell anyone, just don't do that. And that's what you're talking about. Don't be safe. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. There are better ways. And that's where, right? Like, unless you're going to be yourself, unless you're going to do something that when you look at it and you look at that content you've created, you yourself are proud in your heart. You yourself progress yourself and you're like, hey, I want to show people. Like, listen, if I put a post up that's like 5 5 best table placement, you know. I'm not showing that to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not proud of that.
No.
Like that, you know, unless I was like Jenna. Actually, Jenna would make a post like that, create it herself,
Yeah.
take the photos, and be so proud. But you know what, then it actually would attract those people because it has that life and that authenticity of her passion in it. And she would put that out there. And I promise you, it would attract somebody. But if you're just, hey, what does Greg and Sandy and all these Adam do? Put out a post that attracts people about DIY. Put out this. Listen, if you're not proud of it and hyped on it yourself, then you're wasting your time. Your time and effort to put that up, to schedule that up, you're not actually doing anything. And to back you up, straight up, that is a waste of time. Even right now, if you look at my Instagram page, I haven't posted, Benny, for 2.5 weeks. Well, haven't you sold any houses? Actually, I have. I've got some photos ready to go, but I don't really have anything to post. Nothing's really sparked me or hit me, but that's fine. When you have something that's full of life that you're hyped on, put that up there.
You know, I think our society, especially the business training world, is if you don't know something, find someone that does know and do that. Right. Okay. So this is a big thing, right? That's why mastermind groups there's all these things. And like you said, I'm not in that camp where I'm like, let's find out what Ben's doing so we can copy it. And that's what everyone's doing, which is okay if it feels right to you. Yep. But we miss that missing factor going, does it fit you?
Yeah.
Like, does it really fit you? Yep. And I think people undervalue that, because here's the thing. If I'm insecure and I don't feel like I've got what you have, Ben, then the trick is I don't trust myself with social media, we'll say. So Ben must know what he's doing. And what happens is you put you on a pedestal. You put other people on a pedestal, and it's extremely risky because that's where you're going to get controlled. That's where you're going to get, you're going to make financial decisions to buy a stupid program or get a coach so you can be like these people. See, this is the thing about mentorship is so important. It's like when you find a mentor and they say, just do what I did, I have a big problem with that. Yeah. It's not the human, because it doesn't work that way. It's like, I'm going to take a race car. The race car driver goes, here, take my car, do what I did. What you got to do, like, I might be a different style. I might be completely different. So I think mentorship is a really interesting conversation, Ben, because a lot of people are looking outside of themselves to fix the hole that they think is missing, and they're not betting on themselves. And the thing is, if they find a mentor, a lot of times it's not a mentor, it's a salesman. And I think this is a really big topic, right? I want to break down the pedestal, and that people think they need to have what Ben has or what Ben has. You know what I mean? I think if we can just let people be themselves, they can really spark. I think that's what a mentor's supposed to do.
I totally agree. And again, it's that thing that I'm saying, and this is truly my message to anybody, is it is the most hopeful message in the known universe. And it's this: you're amazing. The fact that you exist right now means you have value. You have so much value. And it's like, you don't have, whatever. I just watched Kung Fu Panda with my kids yesterday. Holds out the dragon scroll.
Yeah.
Oh, it's you, right? You. I mean, how many times do we have to hear it? But, and the thing for me, though, coming into real estate, Benny, is I sold angel pins for commission for 7 years before getting into real estate. And so learned through that painstaking, horrific, no money, missing mortgage payments, incremental, brutal, sucky growth process and tears and everything. You actually do learn value of yourself. You do learn what you bring to the table. And
it's through the grind. It's through that development. But if you're willing to look within, you'll never change if you're not willing to. But as you're grinding through it, you can really learn about who you are. And I think that is true. Like, your confidence to stand there, Ben, and just be yourself was because of the grind, because of what you overcame. And now you start knowing who you are. And now there's just some different energy. Now go hit social media with that energy, and it's going to be different.
Yeah. Let me give you one scenario. And again, my heart, even in this, if anybody's listening, is it's not, man, look what I've done. Because to me, I feel like everything kind of happened out of my gut, which feels therefore like it's by accident. And then I make sense of it later and pick the things, right? So it's not, here's what I can do, here's what you can do. But my heart is like, I went in and talked to an owner of a skate shop, a new skate shop in Spruce, and he was talking about social media, and I just started talking to him because it's like, dude, you
want to help.
Yeah, like that's my
man.
heart. And
I got the same heart.
Even in this, it's like, listening to me, I just hope somebody can, if you've felt the way I felt and didn't pull a trigger, I hope this would inspire somebody like, oh, actually, I remember in that moment I had that idea, or I even made this thing, and then I didn't put it out to the world because, well, I thought it wouldn't be accepted, or I thought the industry. So here, I want to give you a practical example. And this is one of the first social media things regarding real estate I put out before the fall park crawl, before that 32,000 views video, before any of that. And it actually came up as a memory just a little while ago.
And just so you know, guys, if you want to go back to From Within, just look it up. Ben Loates' first episode, he goes through the whole thing on what it's all about. So,
yeah. And so I don't think I'd even been in it for a year. I listed my first $540,000 house in Spruce. So in my world, like, whoa, massive. like, man, and so you really want to do your best. So I would really never do this today because it feels like a total waste of time. But at the time it was appropriate. I wanted to do a video for an open house. Right. So I'm in their house and I'm walking around, and honestly, I took I'm not joking, 100 takes. Like,
oh my
like you just keep mad because you're trying to do it all at once. And hey, this is Ben Loates from 52 Florida Green. God, and you don't understand. You can take like different
52, 2224. Oh shit. Yeah.
So I'm trying to do the whole 2 minutes in one take. So like I've got some horrible outtakes, and I put out the video finally. Yeah. I got it done, and it was good, and it was light, and it was fun. It was my flavor. Yeah. But it still nicely fit right with where everything's at.
What you should do as an agent.
Yeah. And it was actually your friend, Jordan Seitz, which what I would say is my friend too. Hey, Jordan. Yeah. He put a comment on there and he wrote, wow, Ben Loates, probably first try, on the video. No, but he was
I know, but I could see how that after 200 takes, you're like, oh shit.
So here's what happened. And I hope this helps somebody, because the moment I read that, my brain went, dude, it wasn't. And I was going to comment, yeah, right, Jordan, that was the furthest thing. And then I remember I had all of these outtakes, and I thought, man, that would actually be so funny to make a video of my outtakes. And so and honestly, I'll send you a link to it or something. I might even put it on YouTube, but nobody knew who I was at that point, really. So I wasn't the guy now that can just do whatever you feel like, and it seems like it all works. Like you're fully the quiet guy in your brokerage meetings. You don't have much experience. Who the hell are you to show so you have no track record to even justify that you are allowed to stand out. Do you know what I mean? And you feel that, and in my crappy little Suzuki SX4, I felt like I wasn't worthy enough to park right in front of the brokerage. Just being real. Like, this is where my brain was at the time. You're so fresh into it. 100%. You feel so not above the stream. You feel like you're lucky to be in it, right? Yeah. And so I made this video. Now, Benny, the clips were it's like when you and your wife take goofy pictures. Yeah. And you start scrolling through them, and you're like, okay, which ones will I put on Facebook? And you choose the ones that are like goofy, but not the ones that are like ridiculous where you look like you're like 13-year-old sleepover Ben pictures.
That's right.
Those ones.
That one's too far. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And really, most of these outtakes were like, well, not most of them, but there was a number in there that were really outlandish, right? Yeah. And I made the whole thing. I was hyped on it. I thought it was funny. And I remember I finished it. I got up and I stood in my kitchen and I wrote the post. I wrote Jordan Seitz in there, and he said it was probably first try. Well, this video shows it wasn't. So everything's good. And Benny, I paused and didn't press upload for about 5 minutes. That's for real. And in that, I really had to consider, what do I think I'm representing? Am I allowed to do this?
Totally. What's the rules?
I'm representing my brokerage right now. Like, I'm going to have 25 people in my office that are going to see this and either going to think, who the hell are you? Because nobody's done this.
Yeah.
And right, like, you got to think, this is 6 years ago. This isn't, it's not acceptable as a professional.
That's what totally.
Right. And Benny, and this is where I hope this can inspire somebody. I remember just in my gut, it felt right. And I remember just going,
here we go.
Okay.
Boom.
Upload. And that video, for its time, that got 3,200 views, so many comments, and so much. And really, that was before anything big that I ever did.
Totally.
And so it shows, you know, and just like anybody else, I actually know the feeling of, oh, should I do this? Oh, I think this is too much of me, or this is 13-year-old sleepover, Ben. Like this is going to mar my reputation. And it's little steps like that every time. And so I hope, even as someone's listening, maybe you've had that thought, maybe you had that idea, maybe you
great idea that you
made a piece of content and you put it away for all of those fearful, or even appropriately trying to make sure you don't break the rules. You know, not even saying you're fearful. Maybe you're like, oh, I really don't think it's appropriate. Maybe you should have pressed share. Yeah. Maybe you should have clicked upload and saw what happened. Because for me, that broke a barrier that allowed me then to break another barrier that allowed me to. So it all, and you got to think of that. If you didn't press upload then, you can't press upload on level 2. And many realtors right now are trying to press upload on level 12. They're looking at me or other realtors that are, man, he's on level 15. Listen, it's like working out. It's like anything. You actually have to go back and press upload on number 1. Now, here's the joy of number 1. It's not as hard as 12. And number 1 is accomplishable, right? And that's why, like, trying to start way over here, that's why it feels inauthentic, because your number 1 looks way different than my number 1. Here's a funny comment. Your number 2 looks different than my number 2.
No pictures. Don't be showing pictures.
If you could quote me on that one,
you're gonna have a t-shirt.
Yeah, your
within the podcast. Yeah. What's your number 2 look like? I'll show you my number 2. You show me your number 2. See, this is the thing. We start getting out of hand. We'll just go 30 minutes of just absolute chaos. Actually, probably be fine. Okay, so I think what you're saying, though, to be honest, is super inspiring. I think it's not even business. We're talking people.
Absolutely.
Like I see little girls on the street. No, little girls at let's say at the library. And
we're really starting out with some rough starting sentences here.
Yeah, I know. What you think? You see someone sitting there and they're taking 500 photos for a selfie. Yeah. And it's a state. Now what I love, and I think we're alike in that level, where I'm willing to, and so are you willing to, because the motive is to help someone else break that barrier, to maybe believe in themselves just a little bit more, to experience the life that can be so fulfilling, and it's just right around the corner for them. I'm willing to throw myself out there. One of my big motivations is when I'm being honest and people are like, holy shit, you really tell about yourself. It's not because I just love it. Yeah. It's because I think I want to show people and subconsciously give them permission to be themselves. And if I have to cut through the jungle, and I got to get hit hard, and I got to get judged, and I got to get beat up, if I can be the guy that takes those hits behind me, I cleared a path so someone can just step in and just start being themselves. They don't have to be so insecure. And that's what I see you're doing. You know, you're just doing it. And I think people have already copied you, and it's the best compliment you can ever have. I'm seeing people do what you're doing in that level. And I'm like, wow, you're giving permission to be themselves. And that's exciting. Like, that is so exciting. Do you see that the same way, Ben?
Yeah, I do see it. I mean, the interesting thing is this, though, and I've said this before, and I'm not even being humble. I did it because, just like in skateboarding, right? I've done it professionally. I did it for 20 years. When you see something that's just in front of you that you've never done, but 70% of your brain says it's possible, and only 30 says you're for sure going to die. In me,
that's good odds.
In me, those are incredible odds. And actually, I would rather die than not at least find out. And the feeling, so I'll liken it to this, the feeling of actually jumping down that handrail. And even though you don't land your trick, but you're at the bottom of the stairs and you didn't die, Benny. You're alive. I just lived, right? Like, how do you describe that feeling? And that, I believe, whether you're an introvert, an extrovert, whether you hate the sun and live in a black hole, everybody's meant to feel that feeling. I believe that, and that's, I think, what motivates. So for me, when I look at all that stuff, I think I cleared a way for people, but really, and if I'm being honest, selfishly, for me, I had to make a way for myself. And in that, man, like I have to make this video. I have to do this thing, because if I don't, I'm going to die. And really, so really you're clearing a way for yourself, because I can't live with myself if I don't see if it's possible. Right. And so for me in my life, I would always say to people, well, you're used to having one cookie your whole life. What if you found out there's two? And all you had to do was reach like an extra 3 feet. Totally. Well, I've never reached 3 feet. I'm the guy that'll always go, but I know my hand could get cut off.
What's possible? It's one of my favorite questions. What's possible?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to die, and like, what could have we done? Like, I want to give it a good go, you know? Like we're in the best country in the world, man. There's people dying. There's sex slaves. There's like the most incredible, horrific parts of the world all over the place. And we get to play here. Like, I want to make sure I take the best chance I got. I want to do whatever I possibly can to experience life, and maybe make an impact. And I think we just got to realize the context of what we're doing here. Like, we're scared of dumb things compared to what the world is dealing with. We're sitting in a place where we can talk about being on a podcast and have fun, and social media and how to post. Well, these are just baby things. Like, we realize this. That's why it motivates me too, is the absolute abundance in our hands right now. Now, if you're the guy living on the streets in Canada or in the States, you got the abundance still. It's like to do something with what you've been given. And I don't feel guilt or shame or anything. It's more excitement. Like, holy shit, we got dealt the lottery living in where we're at. It's the lottery. And we're sitting there, I don't want to do a post because it looks stupid. I'm like, you know what real problems are? Like, it's like, we got to gain context to what's holding us back is actually just a little tiny piece of dental floss. And you think it's this massive rope. You want a real problem to get over? I think that comes from, like yourself too, and myself. We've had some challenges in our life. And I think once you've overcome your challenges, you realize the problems aren't that big.
No, that's right. That's right. Which makes it easier to execute on something that seems a little outlandish. Now, this would be my advice to anybody that's doing social media and they're finding it's not working. Well, then what do I do? Because I am doing my posts.
Great.
I am scheduling, and I put a picture up of me and my dog, and that got a lot of likes because it was real. But again, it's like we're actually all, especially if you're a realtor. Okay, let's just go into that vein. You're a realtor. You are meant to lead. Straight up. Okay, right. Well, not me. No. If you're a real estate agent, you are. So that said, then, if you're a realtor, you are meant to lead, which means you're not meant to follow anyone. And so your social media account shouldn't just be another following of the way everything else is working. And I just want to say it straight up. It's not working. And your time is being wasted. If all you're doing is following a formula right now, you're already lost. I may be on the cutting edge, maybe, Ben. I'm already bored of my own stuff, and I'm just being totally real with you. And it's because, how fast, but I'm not bored because, I feel like people are,
it needs to be better. I need to up the bar. That's not that.
If you're doing it for the people first, and this is going to sound so wrong because you're marketing to people. The people are who call you. You have to do it. No.
What do they want?
You have to actually do it for you first. And if you're doing it constantly going, well, what works for the people? Well, what are people going to like? Listen, just get some vanilla ice cream, stick it on your face. And actually that'd be a great video.
And do it right now. If I had ice cream, I'd put it on my face right now.
Just put it here and represent yourself that way. Cause that's where it all whittles down to it. You have to be hyped on what you're doing personally and putting out there. And if you're not hyped, it's a waste. And for
let's talk about tactics then. Let's think about this. Okay. So let's talk about the rules that you should not do in social media that we could maybe generalize a little bit for people. Say, this is what's not working, Ben.
Okay. Oh man, that's a good question. I've never thought of it as what you shouldn't do. Everybody talks about what you should do.
Good.
Don't do. It's like landmines. Don't step here.
I really want to step there. I don't know why.
Okay, and these are all in my opinion. Okay.
Dude, you must have a lot. Like you got a library you're looking through right there in your mind.
Yeah.
Get your pens out, guys. This is going to be really good. And
yeah,
if you've got 8 out of 10 of these, shut your social media down, please.
Yeah. First and foremost, don't get someone to pull generally popular posts from somewhere and post it on your page. What a waste of time. Whatever you paid that person to do that, and now that thing is up and you've got 3 likes on it if you're lucky and no engagement. But I wrote the sentence that says, what's your favorite color on this picture? That's a waste of time.
Okay.
Because 95% of realtors attempting to execute social media, that's what they're doing. So all you've done, the moment you've done that, is you maybe 5 or 6 years ago, if you did that, you would have been, among, let's talk about just Edmonton, among 200 to 300 that were doing that. So you'd still stand out. Any realtor, that's the first thing they do. Don't do that. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your time. Do not do the regular posts that a social media company will sit down and talk with you about and say, well, we'll do this and we'll do a post that shows like the inside of a house. And then this one will.
Oh my goodness. Do you want to buy 200 pre-posts? I've seen those people. I see those sites and like, I want one. And everyone wants it. Okay. Number 2.
Yeah. Cause you're not accomplishing anything.
That's right. So what's the next one? So first, don't let anyone post standard packaged posts. Got it.
Garbage. Next thing. And I'm thinking about Insta. Let's just go Insta.
Okay. Instagram.
Right? Because they're both different things, right? The next thing, post sparingly on your actual photos. Don't post.
So on your page or on your wall or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's a holiday, you post a picture of a stocking and it says Merry Christmas from me. Garbage.
I almost want to puke when you said that.
My time is wasted that I even saw it for 1.5 seconds and had to move my thumb past it. Right? Yeah. Here's the well, what's the solution? How about this? Watch this. And it says Merry Christmas from me. You literally
big
just
smile on your face. Yeah.
That's it. A big, or you, let's say
a big goofy smile, like, hey, Merry Christmas from Ben.
Or someone's like, Ben, I don't do big goofy smiles. That's fine. What do you love? Well, I do love wine. Okay. You holding a glass.
Merry
and
Christmas.
Just smiling. Merry Christmas for me. It's what is your deal? So don't do that for holidays. And here's the other thing I've seen. And this is for your posts. This is for your pictures. Don't show me too much of your personal life. I don't actually want to see that your house is a giant mess on your professional realtor page. And like, hashtag kids, am I right? And you actually look at it and you're like, oh, like, God, that's rough. Like don't actually, there's a difference between being authentic and then actually just being dumb where it's not appropriate. It's like, let's say you're in a group of friends.
Like taking a picture of your number 2 we were talking about.
What does your number 2 look like?
If you do that, actually, never mind. I almost went south there.
No. So, to me, those are the biggest things. And really more than any of that, and I feel like it's like, people say, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. Listen to me. If you don't have anything value to post, don't post anything at all. And and companies will tell you, no, you have to be present. You have to be relevant. If you don't post 2 or 3 times a week, nobody will know you're out there. False. Again, I haven't posted for 2.5 weeks. I promise you the next picture I put up that has a picture of me and my clients and I tell an authentic story about how it went, it'll get 200 or 250 likes, quality likes from people that are actually following, and the story will go on. And nobody will care. It's social media. You're not.
It goes away in 2
enough.
seconds. It's so true, man.
Right? No, nobody's sitting at home going, "Oh my gosh, like Ben hasn't posted in 2 weeks. I wonder." No, you are not that important, right? So it's like, if you don't have anything, what was that?
Jordan Sites is calling. Hey, Jordan, if you're listening to this, talk to you later, buddy. Okay, go ahead.
So really, if you don't have anything good to post, don't post anything at all.
Okay, stories.
Stories. This is
that's where you live, dude. I know you live there. I see you get so many stories going. It's almost like a little ... I think is that too much or what?
Yeah, it is. It is for sure. So like, I'll be real with you. If you're going to post stories, unless it's something absolutely incredible, like you're seeing a dangling cat from like a building and it's going to fall on like a giant pile of like fiery wood, but then there's sharks under the wood. And like, there's no way you couldn't capture it except through 20 stories. But you know that humans, like, they'll call you and be like, what happened in your story?
Yeah.
15 to 20 stories is fine. Otherwise, keep it to five to eight, you know, as long as they look about that big all in a row. Because even for me, when I see somebody post something and there's like, they're all tiny, I'm like, even if it's great, I can't commit to that.
Like, so, you gotta hit it 100,000 times. You know, you get caught in it. Like, I'm like, oh geez,
I can't do it. You know, so 5 to 8 at the most. And honestly, and for me, stories are so wonderful actually, because it aside from your pictures, which to me, the pictures are the memories. The pictures are your foundational anchored things. The Insta story is fleeting. The Insta story is whoever jumps on and sees it. And so the picture for me, and let me say this to anybody listening, my strategy always was on my pictures. It was holidays and it was sold photos. That's it. Once I put up pictures and advertised an open house, I went from like 90 likes to 17. And I was like, never again will I post an open house on my pictures. That is a waste of time. Clearly, nobody cares about that. There's no value in that. However,
which is the main posts, what I see, open houses, just
garbage.
Listed. Oh, so like, you almost think when a real estate agent goes, hey, you want to be friends? I'm thinking, I actually go to their page.
Absolutely.
And I think, am I getting spammed?
Yeah.
Like it's almost this illusion because they don't know what they're doing, that they're actually doing something. It's like, I don't know if it's like, I better do it. Like, hi, I'm at 127 open house. Like, you better be like doing something entertaining. Like, let's talk about this. I've heard educational, entertaining. Like, what are the rules if you're going to do a post to make it not boring? I think it doesn't have to have something extremely intriguing or funny. Like, if it's just like, is there rules to these things?
You know what? I would say this. If you're going to do an Insta story, again, because people can choose to jump onto your 15 seconds. Hey, open house here at this time. Can't wait to see you. Look, here's a picture of a log. There you go. And actually, that would be hilarious. Yeah. But it's 15 seconds. You can look at that. But when it's in a post, when it's on your picture, you're telling people this has value. Like those pictures are reserved for like, okay, I got my Insta story. It's fleeting, 24 hours, but this has value. This is my china cabinet.
So let's talk about this. And I just want to tell everyone who's listening, this is Ben Loates style. Let's go back to the beginning of this podcast. You need your style. It's so important that we're talking as if we're that Ben's the expert of all experts. He isn't. He's the expert of being Ben Loates. Yeah. And there's no one better than Ben at being Ben Loates. So if you're sitting there and you want to post, I really want you to listen to your gut. I admire and I consider Ben a great friend. I think what he says to me, and I don't listen to most anybody. And when Ben speaks to me, I listen to him. And so I just have mass respect, but I just want to tell you, don't listen to Ben. Get the concept of what he's saying and think, what do I want to do? Because if Ben would have followed the last guy that was on a podcast, he wouldn't do good. He had no playbook. So I just really this is literally in my wheelhouse now. Like, let's make sure people own who they are, be the way they want to do, and be so I love the advice. I think we need to take it and filter it into going, does that mean something to me? If it does, then listen to it. If not, and I can't say this to all my guests, trust me, but Ben's with me on this for sure, is that we just want people to just own who they are, be their own way, and be the best version of yourself you can be, because nobody compete with you if you're authentic. That's right. So there's a little commercial.
No, that's so good. And the reality is, though, this is my heart, right? Like this is if what I'm saying, if you can take 6% of it and that applies to you and that shifts something for you, take it. And so for me, I'm just kind of trying to barf it all out. Yeah. So that it works. So something works for somebody, right?
So here's my question is this. Now that we've torn it down, that you're being you, and they need to really understand that. And the thing is, personal versus business, your opinion, because that's a question a lot of real estate agents have. And I've got an opinion too, but I want to hear yours.
Personal has to be meshed with business now in our industry, in my opinion. So the new standard is personal/business. That's my opinion. Now, you can beat that to death and look like an idiot. So you don't want to do that. Or you can be too much business and you're a robot. But I believe absolutely with the way media is, personal / business is the new standard. Before it used to be just business, let your personal be something else. We don't live there anymore. So the question is then, how can I marry these two and let them both exist? And that's a tough question. That comes down to, how do I dress? How do I show houses? How does personal marry business in my business? And then how is that reflected? I've had moments where I'll do a video and Jenna will look at it and go, Ben, you probably should have worn, like, I was probably wearing this in a listing video. And Jenna's like, because I'll go from one side to the other.
Yeah.
Like, Ben, you look like a grub. And I'll be like, that's fair. I probably should have put a nice jacket.
My wife hits me too, like, Ben, you haven't shaved in a while. I'm like, I thought you liked the burly look. No, but like, people probably think you're homeless.
Yeah.
Like, there is a line.
Yeah. And I'm the type of guy that'll always lean to, but people know me.
That's right.
So know me, but there has to always be that other side that's like, but at the same time, in some format, you are still representing that you're an apt human. And for me, I weigh that very small. But it doesn't.
It's good hearing it from you, to be honest.
But it doesn't mean that you can't still bow to that. Like, I'm the type of guy where someone goes, well, you got to wear a suit. And here's like, this boils my blood.
Me too.
Right? This is the essence of me. You got to wear a suit. Why? Because it shows you're professional. And I'm just like you just
like, that's when you almost get crossed to violence.
No,
dude, it's just instant rebellion for me. I'm like, okay, great. I'm going to my gaunch, and you're going to watch me close this deal. I'm going to close this deal in my gaunch with a mark on my gaunch. You know what that is. And I'm going to go in there and I'm going to close this deal. Okay. And then I'm going to do I'm going to do a humping dance at the end. And we're going to get the clients to all do it, take a picture, and then you're going to go screw your suit.
Yes. Right. Screw your suit. And it'll feel amazing.
I think I just crossed the line, just for the record.
The crazy thing is, as you're saying it, I'm literally watching it all happen, and it gives me so much glee and joy in my heart. And so what I'm saying there is, that's my nature too. And wisdom and maturity and waiting makes you realize, okay, no one's asking you to bend to the system and everything. Just put a nice coat on, bud. You look grubby, okay? Like, there's a difference.
Totally.
Right?
I know. We know people that won't change. Like, a 1980s hairstyle right now, you got to own that shit to make that work. You better really own it. Like, actually it is coming back, but I'm talking like the big hairspray hair. Like, there's that refuse to evolve. And that's a whole other conversation. Like, there's tribes in Africa that are going extinct because they won't take a toothbrush. Yeah. And like, we're talking like stupid. Yeah. Like, we're talking like, let yourself evolve a little bit. Let people, like, it's like, I don't live for people. That's how I used to be all my life. And I realized I'm swearing, and that's just what I do, like it or not. Right. I realized, wow, I'm really alienating people in certain situations. And to be able to be evolve without losing who you are is maturity. Yeah. And I used to feel like I was losing who I was by bending to the effing rules.
Totally. I know people I know people, like, maturity actually is that you're so sure of yourself, you're fine with bending to people's rules because it serves them.
Exactly. Listen, it's not about you.
I'm cool to bend because if me bending means you actually get some sort of an unlock later,
love that,
I'm happy to bend. Right.
Love
and but you definitely go through that time in your life where, I know people that went through traumatic stuff. And, I had a conversation with them as they're kind of coming out of it. And they were coming out of this place where they were really, their boundaries were pushed and crossed. And they said something. And I said, well, we should probably do this. And they're like, wait, no one talks to me like that. Like, this is, and it's like, immaturity says I have
to just do hurts still too.
Yeah. And at the same time, we all have to journey to get to maturity. And we need people that are mature to be cool with us. Hey, these are my boundaries. You don't tell me where we're eating. We're going to Dairy Queen, and you don't own me. And for mature people to go, hey,
sure,
bless
whatever,
you,
dude. No, I'll get a Blizzard.
Yeah, exactly.
Just give me a Blizzard. I'm like, I'll be like, well, are you spending? Be like, no problem. You paying?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's just talk real estate for a second.
Yeah.
If in this business, what needs to change?
Oh, I feel like I don't. This is going to sound so bad. I feel like I don't care enough about the ins and outs of the political nature of the industry to even answer it. But I still will. Right? Like it's you know, I don't even follow stuff with what's going on with like politics in the board, or you know, these people should be doing like for so what needs to change? Okay, I'll tell you in my opinion what needs to change. Old school sales, I hate. I hate it. It makes me sick when I hear clients come and talk to me, and I walked into this house to show a realtor, and but I hated this before I got into sales. Yeah. It's actually the thing that defined me 14 years ago when I started selling.
I will not be the guy.
I will not be that guy, which pigeonholes you to, well, then who are you? Because you still have to sell crap.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to be the 80% that I see. What does 20% look like? But I hate it. So when I hear that somebody walked in this day and age, walked into a house, met a realtor, and they had them on the phone with the mortgage broker in 6 minutes and pressured them to make an offer. And I'm like, I actually go, like, is that real? Is that real that people still, and you know, I get it if there's older people that did it 30 years ago and they're still functioning, God bless them. But people that are like our age, that are starting and mentored to pressure people in to make the sale, I hate it. It's disgusting. It is the very thing that is the rudder to my trajectory and direction. I just have to look at that and go, man, what else should I be doing? Okay, here's that. Oh, well, clearly not that. Oh, well, then the easy solution is to do this. So to me, that type of business conduct is disgusting.
It's funny that you're saying that because I'm fully trained like that. That's what's hilarious.
Wow.
I'm fully trained like that. So here's the funny thing. I grew up with my dad, right? Selling vacuums door to door, selling insurance.
Oh my gosh, a vacuum salesman.
My dad sold like 22 Kirby vacuums in a month. Okay?
Oh man. Yeah.
And he was that guy. Okay. Yeah. So now this is the thing. So guess where I learned? I learned my dad's like, you're going into sales? So it's like one of the first times he's like, that's my boy, you know? So he told me, he literally showed me exactly what to do. And I sold $2.5 million of office furniture and Gunner Office Furnishings. Now, I think I love this. We have such great contrast here because I 100% am with you, Ben. I hate the dirtbag sales guy. But to know how to ask someone, now we're talking, this is an art because you can be it's the same skill that I have, can be a total abuser, manipulator, and hustler versus this. I'm in a house and they say, we're not sure. I say, what are you not sure about? They say, well, there's 2 or 3 things. Now I understand personalities. If they're a perceiving type, nothing will settle these people until they make a move.
Yeah.
So there's a place of empathy where I'm like, look, we got to help these guys move forward. So I'd say, look, why don't we just tie this up right now? That's a sales technique. Let's tie this thing up right now and let's get you offered. And you know what? Let's go look at a couple other properties.
Yeah.
That straight up sales technique. Now in the wrong hands, it's dirty, rotten hustler.
Yeah. Agreed.
So that's why in the right hands, I know how to close.
Yeah.
And so this is what I'm trying to bring to this. I'm not disagreeing.
No. Your client, at the end of the day, though, when executed appropriately, your clients are actually happy. Say, man, thank God
every single time they say that.
And that's where, right, the fruit is good.
Yes.
Ben knew we weren't sure, but
no, they say this. It's just so smooth with him.
Yeah.
That's the feedback I would get because I see an objection and I deal with it. I move it out of the way. I see another objection and I ask him, is that a real objection? I just know how to move them along. But do you know what this is? It's based out of trust. Yeah. It's based out of that they're open with me. It's not that I did a technique to open them to see what they're all about. So my motive is the unseen.
Yeah. Now I agree. And here's the thing. And this is really the root of that is if you're, listen, all of our motivations are to make the sale. That's why we're in it. Okay. So we can say that. However, if first route is so I can make the sale. If that overcomes so I can help the people, then you have become, no matter how you spin it, you are sketchy because you are actually serving yourself first.
Yeah. So now watch this. Here's a technique to be, let's say there's a lot of people that are salesmen. And I actually believe if you're a real estate agent, you're a salesman.
You better believe it.
I sell houses. So I'm not that salesy. I don't sell. Well, I am a salesman. And the thing is, what I like to do is I like to shift, not say, don't be salesy. That doesn't work. What I do say is this, Ben, when you're dealing with a client, let's try to keep them for 10 years. Done.
That's good.
Done.
It makes you
like, let's play the long game, because I know if I make an impact and they don't buy, I still win.
That's right. And
by taking sales training and play the long game, eliminate the short game, let the short game go. Now you can be a salesman, hardcore sales guy, but know that you are going, it's because I'm talking to the selfish guy too, the dirty, rotten guy that has no empathy. I can still train him to serve people because he understands selfishly that if he closes them too hard, he won't get them for 10 years.
That's exactly right.
So that's a logical mind though, Ben. Like there's people out there that aren't bad people that have 50% of society don't have empathy naturally. And so 50% are going to be like, I need to make money and they're going to be the way to do it. I'm going to help them. No, they should close. And it's like me and you are like straight heart. Yeah. And that's why it's like, how do I see, this is what I get really excited about is how do I coach that guy?
Yeah.
How do I coach that guy that is that hardcore sales guy, so selfish driven? I'm like, then he has to be logically explained.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you play the long game, you will win. Oh, okay, great. Now I'm helping, I'm protecting society from that guy.
Yeah.
That's my motivation.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hardest thing for any self-interested, selfish agent is you can't see the long game. The long game doesn't equal success.
Exactly.
But the long game is gorgeous, and the long game is a giant foundation and a giant base, and your no's are just as important as your yeses. But you don't see any of that until later. You don't. Yeah. I've had people where I've talked to them. They've called me on the phone. I've never anybody. I won't say any names. Ben, we got a house. This realtor. Yeah, it's an expensive house. This realtor, it's just, we feel like it's not working. And my advice, and I know the realtor, I said, do you feel like he's working for you? Well, yeah. I said, listen, it's a tough market. Mm-hmm. I know him personally. I think he's a great agent. I said, I think you should stick with them. I think you're just working with a tough market and a tough price bracket. I promise you, but authentically, that is my heart. That's true. Why would I reinvent all of that to grab a listing where truly he's crushing it as much as I am, and I want to steal that from him, and I'm just actually going to enter the same issue of a price point with few buyers, but make promises I can't back up, and steal it from a friend, and just why not tell her what honestly is the truth? Mm-hmm. He's doing a great job. You're in a tough market. Stick with him. And she was gobsmacked.
And just lower the price. Just tell him, drop the price. She
was gobsmacked, and
love that, dude.
But I promise you, Benny, she would have talked to somebody in the last year. Man, I called Ben Loates. Can you believe what he said to me? Like without
or if you need a real estate agent, who's getting referred?
Right. And so
the way I frame that is if we can build, and this is just me with framing it, is what is the conversation behind your back? And that is actually your brand. So your brand is not the social media guy. It's not the leopard skin that you put on everything. It's not you holding a cat or a cowboy hat. You're not the specialist with senior citizens. Like whatever that is, that's nothing. That's not who it's the conversation that's happening behind your back is your brand. Yeah. So if you want a brand, then you do something worth talking about. And what's going to be remembered is that you were honest. And that's where the emotional connection comes in going, like, that is the long game, dude. Because that if you can compound that conversation over and over again, when you do an authentic social media post, it's the fuel.
It's just a confirmation of the base that's already there. Exactly. It's a lot easier to like when people talk and go, Ben or Adam is honest. He's a good guy. That guy's got a family. I feel like he's the same everywhere. And then he puts a post up. All those likes come from that understanding that, man, that picture, actually reminds me of who I already think he is. And I appreciate that. Right. Like but these are things that we have opportunities every day in our business where no one hears us except for the person we're talking to. And you have an opportunity to not steal from another agent. Or, I mean, I've had things, Ben, and here's another example. These are things that suck in the moment, but it's just the right thing to do. And I don't even know if people will be cool with this or not, but I had clients go out into the country and look at a house twice with an agent. And they didn't understand how it all works. They didn't even know me, but they felt sketchy to go with that agent after that poor agent showed it twice and was ready to empathize with the other agent. Yeah. And her sister said, "Hey, call Ben. We work with him." And they called me, but check this out. They called me, Ben, and they said, "Ben, you know, our sister said to call you. We just don't know what to do." And I could tell they were skittish, but I again, this was my first response. Well, guys, it's not, "Ooh, here's an opportunity for another sale." Ooh, like these are the unseen things. My response was, "Well, guys, here's a question for you. Do you feel sketched out by the agent?" "Oh, well, no, not really. We just talked to our sister and she said, you never know." I said, "Well, in the 2 times you went out with them, did you feel like that she was trying to lean or was she pressuring?" "No." I said, "Well, honestly, guys, there's no reason why you shouldn't just finish the deal with that agent." Again, who says that? But authentically, that's how I feel. And if I was showing somebody, I would hope another agent said that. "Listen, do you think Ben's sketchy?" "No." Just finish it with him. You don't need me. Here's the crazy thing though. So I let that puppy fly. I actually got off that phone call and said to Jenna, she was beside me, I'm like, "You know, babe, I feel, let's watch and see what happens." The next day, I get a call from them. "Ben,
we want you." Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course.
Yes. Now, but check this out. I took it a step further, called the other agent, let her know that they've called me, let her know that they just don't feel, and I said, "Let me give you 20% of my sale because you did this work." Like there's just a way to do things that's right, that nobody sees, that at the end of the day, the best brand that we can build is actually the one that nobody sees. It's the one that it's an audio brand. It's the one that just keeps flowing.
And that's long game. It is long game. Like it's values, but there's also a mixture between values and logic. It actually works. Yeah. Like it's for the guys that are like, "Well, I don't know." I'm like, it works. You want a strategy? Honesty. You want a strategy? Be yourself for real. Do you want a strategy? This is all in on this, man. It's like, this is why the whole half of this episode is about being yourself. Like, and it's the most attractive thing that you can do in the planet. It actually is the way to become successful. And like, you have to realize, like, the other way you get what you grab. But get what you grab. Though. That's all you, but that's all you get is what you grab.
And what you grab isn't what you need. And that's a whole other thing. It's like you're going into one of those toy things in Toy Story. You're like, what do you want in your life? Here's Ben Osterveld coaching you. What do you want in your life? "I want the blue teddy." Yeah. Great. And then you're like, "Here's how you get a blue teddy." You're like, "Awesome." And then you go to this dumb machine, put a coin in. Don't do the machine. You come up, it picks up like 5
My
things,
Little Pony.
And it's like, well, I'll do the best with My Little Pony. And that's where I would say to anybody, and again, you got to get started. I get it. And I've dealt with some crazy starting.
Yeah. There's always context to every bit of advice, right? Always.
That's right. Always. But it's like, if you just grab and get, I've found that when I look back on a year full of business and evaluate things that didn't work, Ben, I'm being really real. When I look at the genesis of that transaction, I was grabbing. That is the common thread I've found in the last 2 years of so much business. Man, why didn't that? I even had, man, this family, like, we connected. I had empathy with them. They were going through a tough time. You know what? It still was not full of life. And I dreaded it. I could feel the dread in my heart. And when I went back to the genesis of it, there was still a grab to make it happen. And I've found that if you're grabbing, it's a good sign it's not yours. If it's yours, it'll actually, this sounds so lame, it'll come. But that's really hard to say.
People get it, especially my audience, man. People get it. 100%. So Ben, any last words, man? We'll wrap it up here. Any final things you want to say? Actually, we can turn it around and we could get you to ask me a question. And that's usually how I throw that.
I don't think that's a good idea. Last time,
what did you ask?
I asked you about your dad, and
God, oh yeah, that's right. That was intense.
For 2 more hours.
Let's scratch that. Scratch that. Don't ask me about my mom. But anyways,
you know what? Let's just BS for 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Literally though. Like,
okay. What's your next?
How was the last time you mowed the lawn? What angle?
I don't ever get to mow the lawn. My kid takes I get the best mower you can ever see on an acreage, man. It's like 0 turn. It's like
I saw you with machine. A beer. I saw you with a beer on the mower. Did you do that just for Insta?
I do everything I do. It's fake. Yeah.
You son of a.
That's my game. That's my game. No, my kid, he's been mowing the lawn. I'll tell you a story. It's funny. My son Rock is super independent, but all my kids are. I want them to be. I'm like, be whoever you want to be. Do whatever you want to do, and I'm going to help you along the way. But the thing is, with Rock, when we one day I think he's 5 years old. And we've got those mowers that have just a push mower that had the wheels that have like a transmission, like they'll push.
Yeah.
We hear the mower start. We're like, who's mowing? What the heck? Who's mowing the lawn? And look outside. He's halfway done the lawn. He's 5 years old. He's on this.
Oh my God.
You know how there's the bar on the top and the bottom?
Yeah.
The hand folds over. Yeah. He's on the bottom part mowing the lawn, and he's 5. And he's pushing it like crazy. And we're like, what? Stop. You're going to kill yourself. And he's like, just mowing the lawn. He had started it on his own and everything. He'd watched what I did. And now
awesome.
So when he was like 7 or 8, he was on my 0 turn, big honking mower, mowing the acre, just meow. He's just this little kid on there. We're like, yeah, go for it. You know, someone would have just shot us. But
okay, here's a question then. If you mow the lawn, or let's say you own just a suburban little house in Sherwood Park. Yeah. Perfect lawn. It is long, luscious, and just waiting for that mow of the year. Like, and it's only going to take you 8 minutes to mow it, Ben.
Yeah.
How do you mow that lawn to make sure that if you were to take a picture for a magazine, it looked the best it ever looked? How would Ben Osterveld,
dude, you're asking
mow that lawn?
I could care less.
That's a good answer.
I don't even care, dude.
That's not my answer.
That
would be my answer.
And most likely, my wife will do it. And I'll look like a schmuck because there's my wife, and she's independent too. She's just mowing the lawn. I get shit because she mows the lawn. She jumps on the mower just to get away from the kids. And she's mowing the lawn. I can't get on my mower. And then the neighbor comes over and goes, hey, why doesn't your husband? It looks like you're mowing the lawn. Why doesn't your husband? I think she probably plays into it too. Well, you know, he doesn't really spend time with me. And but she loves mowing. So my wife would probably mow it, or my kids would mow it. So I wouldn't get a chance. I don't care. How about you? Would you use scissors or what?
No. I definitely mow it on the same height that I always have it. But I can never just do a normal mow. So I love an angled mow.
I like the angle too.
The angle's good, but then I've also switched it up. We've got a little like round flower bed at the front.
So you build around it.
Actually, do like a round.
Yeah, I do the same thing on my mower when I do mow at home in the acre.
Yeah.
The biggest arch by the end. It looks like this beautiful rainbow. Yeah, I'm the same way, man. If I can, like boring straight, I can't.
Although every once in a while, I'll go boring to mix it up.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the question.
Okay.
What is like the craziest, now let's be good. What's the craziest vision you have for yourself in 20 years that might never come true, but you see this crazy possibility and you wonder?
I have always, and I have no problem saying this boldly, and I've said it before, I have always seen myself in front of hundreds of thousands of people, if not millions, and my voice being heard. And I have no idea in what format, in what context, but I could draw you a picture at 7 years old at what it looked like from my first person perspective. It's so big, Benny. I couldn't create it myself if I wanted to, you know, so I keep it in my heart. I lean into it, and I enjoy watching where things progress and see where they go. 20 years. I mean, dear Lord, like I could like create a spaceship or something out of MDF and glue. Like I really don't know, but I would say that's my answer. And I've said that before where people have said, what do you see? You know, and there's an opening to say it. And I say, things coming out of my mouth being heard by millions of people.
Yeah.
And
it's funny you say that. Yeah. Because I relate in some levels, but the thing is, I think about being bored. Okay. The problem is if you have that vision, Ben, things are going to be boring. And so I think that's usually the light that the mosquito goes to. And so that's why you're doing your thing. You've arrived. You've done some great things. You're like, I'm bored. But I don't think it might be boredom. I think it's evolution.
Yeah, that's fair. I actually totally agree. I you know, it's the boredom is it has nothing to do with a lack of gratitude. Oh my gosh, I wake up and go, like, I can't even believe this. This is insane. Like I my mind was blown when I was selling the scarves and made 5,000 in a month. Like I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to tell everybody, can you believe?
Yeah.
And that was my, I said this to you yesterday, that was my cherry being popped. So for me, gratitude is at an all-time high.
Totally.
But,
I get that,
but gratitude for me never equals resting on your laurels. It never equals sitting on your hands. It never equals becoming okay with business as usual. Because for me, I might as well die. And I know other people aren't built that way. But I have given up to the myth of arrival and fully submitted to this process of constant progression, because that is the joy of life.
Totally.
Is evolution, to progress. It is the joy of life.
Happiness is progression. I really believe that. Like if you're not progressing, totally, man. That's cool.
Progression's hard. It's uncomfortable. It hurts. And so we really have an option to stay in business as usual. But the reality is, and there's my favorite quote of all time. And it's so in those moments where you're coming out of one season into another, it always comes back to me. And it just says, and so the time came that it became more painful for the flower to stay in the bud than to bloom. And it is always in those moments where you're like, oh man, I've been here for so long, but this thing is happening. But I don't know how this works or how this looks. And you're staying here, and it literally just becomes painful that you have no choice. And my heart in life is that I can actually learn from the pain each time, that it doesn't 100%, have to become painful.
100%.
That I can actually just, it's time. I trust that, because the last 10 times this has happened, I'm still alive.
Totally.
So.
No, hugely. You inspire me, man. Not many people do, to be honest. Like you inspire me.
I love you, Benny. Listen to me. I love you. I appreciate who you are, and it's fun doing this. And I think if people are watching, why do they get along? Because me and Ben can both look at a rock and be like, "Do you love the color blue on that rock?" "Yeah, I love blue." "Do you?" "Yeah." And we'll just be like,
whatever.
Like you just hype each other up.
I don't even know what you're saying, but I'm agreeing with it because I think it's right. There was like 15 examples you could have used. I'm not sure that's the one I would have chosen. Like, I'm still not quite sure. We're looking at a rock, pumped that it's blue, but I'm liking it.
Yeah. So I still know what you mean. Yeah, I still know what you mean.
Man.
Then anyways.
No, that's cool, man. We should put the families together and connect again here soon, man. We keep saying that. I agree, buddy. But we just got to pull it off. So. Totally. Buddy, I'll end the recording now. And thanks so much for being on the show, for real. Truly pleasure.
Bless you, bro. Bye.